Hi, I'm Harold Riegler, producer at Dedelic Entertainment, and today I'm happy to reveal some exciting details about our upcoming game, The Lord of the Rings, Gollum. Gollum has always fascinated us. While being completely essential to the story written by J.R.R. Tolkien, Gollum's long chase for his precious ring has never been told in detail. Yet his incredible journey from Mordor through Mirkwood to the mines of Moria takes players to places they haven't seen like this before, while setting the stage for events that will ultimately decide the fate of all of Middle-earth. Gollum has pretty much traveled everywhere. He's also pretty much met everyone, and by looking at events from his angle, players will experience Middle-earth through the eyes and twisted mind of one of the most iconic characters of all time. All of that in our very own artistic style. From his time in the slave pits of the Dark Tower to his stay with the Elves of Mirkwood, Gollum will creep, sneak, and trick his way past faithful, detailed environments, some of which have never been seen before in such detail. The Lord of the Rings Gollum is a cinematic stealth action adventure. It mixes stealth and parkour gameplay and really leverages Dedelic's expertise in crafting engaging stories. Gollum is no traditional hero. He's learned not to take any sides other than his own, and some of the most powerful beings in Middle-earth want him either captive or dead. In the game, you will meet some iconic characters, but also interesting personalities less known to players, but nonetheless essential to the events unfolding. We've been highly faithful to the descriptions in the books, depicting, for instance, the Moth of Sauron, the Lieutenant of Barad-dûr, who is constantly scheming on behalf of his Dark Lord. In the game, we will see his face for the first time, but also Thranduil, King of the Elves of Mirkwood, father of Legolas, and last but not least, Gandalf the Wizard. We're all super excited to be working on this amazing project, and we can't wait to show you more. Stay tuned on social media at Gollum Game.
Once there was an explosion. A bang which gave rise to life as we know it. Then came the next explosion. An explosion that will be our last.
Sam, I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
Rebuilding America isn't gonna get rid of the BTs.
But at least we'll have hope.
I'm a porter. I don't care about connecting anything.
You see, I've come to understand the truth of the Death Stranding.
I'll be waiting for you on the beach.
PlayStation.
Hello, 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 hello. How do? Welcome to Sunday. Welcome to SEAMS. Just say something, Drew, because I think I've got an audio issue right at the last minute.
How's it going?
Oh, damn it, I do. Right.
Uh-oh.
Entertain people. Just carry on talking. I've lost my...
No, anyways, hello. Welcome, everybody.
Me making a cable that's too fucking long.
Hopefully you can hear me. Don't know. Actually, I can test that.
Ugh.
Yep, sounds like you can hear me. Great. Alrighty then. Oh, we're looking at a printer. That's cool. And yeah, so we got some cool stuff for you guys today. JR is going to show you how to clean a printer. And yeah, nice. Watching this thing go. So you're watching a Form 2 right now. This is It's making, what is it making? I think it's making Carrack parts. So, yeah, just can't hear JR. I think he knows this though. So we're working on that. And yeah, that's pretty much the way that the the printers work. So you get a vat of goo, and there's a laser underneath that does it each layer by layer, but it does it from the top down instead of like an FDM printer, which does it from the bottom up.
Victory, I
So-
can hear you now.
Hey, all right, victory!
Right, I'm now going to try and make my cable longer again. Which is, I know we're going to break it
Epic
again, but
fail.
I think I know what I did wrong.
Seamless, of course. Amazing. Yeah, it's fascinating. I don't know. And all the people that I've shown my printers, regardless of what kind of printer it is, people are fascinated by watching it print. It's so cool, and it's not quite the same with the Formlabs printer, but you do kind of get to see like as it grows out of the thing. So we were talking about doing a time lapse where every time it would pick itself up, you would get the print or you'd get the picture, and so it'd just basically be like it would just kind of come right out of the goo.
That would be
pretty cool.
That would be
Yeah.
cool. We'd have to. I don't know how we'd trigger it is the issue, because the problem you've got is because every time it comes to a different height, so you'd have to have. I know some FDM printers have the ability, don't they, to actually trigger a photograph so that it just go.
They do. Yeah, Octoprint does that automatically as well.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Hello, Paul. Cool. Free Keys. Welcome. Jay Rickards. Welcome. Sorry for my slight audio issues there. That was that's in the 3D print room. What you're seeing on screen. Daj has talked me through lots of cool tweaks with OBS Ninja, which has allowed us to have more guest hosts, more mobile cameras, all this sort of stuff. So was quickly setting this stuff up before the hello Haskah. Hello Lertzig. Yeah, so we're setting this up before the stream, and I suddenly realized that my audio cable, because this isn't a wireless headset, it's like a Sennheiser, I needed a much longer cable so I could get all the way into the 3D print room, so that we can go and poke stuff, because we have quite a lot to get through this Sunday. I'm liking having a lot to do. So I think it was Golden Triangles on Wednesday was asking to see more failed prints, why things fail, kind of what we have to do to clean it. We showed a Form 3 fail. I used, for the first time this week, the cleaning mesh on the Form 3.
Cool.
I even took photos of it.
Very cool.
It's on the phone that's now this camera. But yeah, but I'll sort that out. Have you ever used it on yours?
I've not. I haven't had to use it yet. Most of my
had
fails
to use
have
it,
been...
or did you hear that? Haven't had to use it. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That told me.
I mean, most of my fails have been pretty minor. You know, like I can fish. I've had to do the filtering and that kind of thing. So, well, tell me why you had to use yours. I mean, it must have been a pretty epic fail for that to happen.
It was. So the phase that we're in at the moment is setting up the production prints for the Carrack. So we've printed each of the individual pieces and got those how we want them, and now we're at the stage of basically grouping them. Let me just grab a few. We're basically grouping them together. And the reason for grouping prints together is that we want to reduce the cost of the kit. And the way we can do that is reduce the number of prints that we have to pack into the box. Now, that has, for two reasons. One, it's faster for us to pack the kits, therefore it takes less time, therefore less money. And also because when we cut the individual pockets in the foam, you guys know what that, like, it's foam with lots of holes in it, so you put each component in. If we had to have a different hole for every single component, the box would need to be bigger because you need the foam in between each piece. So there's lots of advantages of trying to get as many pieces on a print as possible. So this was us kind of grouping. Now, this is where you get a lot of failures, because not only are you grouping them, you're also filling the build platform like this sort of. So you've got one component and you're filling the build platform. So this is the one on screen. This is the one that's failed. It's failed 3 times now. It's getting better though. It's getting closer every time. Bart is here. Hello. He is here. So what failed? Well, it was actually this one that failed. So these are the wings for the Carrack, and I was trying to do them in groups of, in like full groups. So actually grouping them all together. There is another reason for this. We kind of we do want to make our lives a little easier. So if we had 4 of these wings, for example, they're quite similar. So one's the landing gear one, so there's a hole for the landing gear to go in, and the other one doesn't have a hole because it's all filled up. So if these were all 3 separate pieces, or 4 separate pieces, sorry, we could very easily pack 3 of one and 1 of the other. You know, that's too easy to do. Especially if we've got someone packing like Leela or someone that doesn't know the Carrack inside out. I mean, she could fall out of it, no issue at all. But yeah, so it's that whole thing of I want to make the packing of these kits as easy as possible for us. You know, and at the end of the day, that's kind of what we're after. So I wanted to try and group these up as much as possible. This was too much. That was all in one print, and that's kind of what failed. So you can kind of see on these ones, just whole bits missing off them. Just big, scary failures. So this is touch points not big enough. As I said before, we tend to put the smallest touch points we think we can get away with, and then sometimes it's a case of we have to back off and put larger and larger touch points on. So these were a failure, and I'm also a bit worried about these because if we do get one failing, like on this one, that's the whole print gone, and this is a lot of resin. So I thought, right, okay, let's ignore that as a plan. Let's do them in pairs. Okay, so let's do them in pairs so that we've got 1 flight and 1 landed. So that we just have to put 2 of these in each kit. And we can't get it wrong because you just need 2 of the same piece. We did this with the Cyclones. There's a pair of wheels, not the tires, the actual wheels. And that's how we did those. So they're in pairs, but you just need to put 2 in the kit. So I did a whole raft of these, and these worked fine. So that was fine. But this is the one that I used the cleaning mesh for. Was this one. Because there were so many failures, I didn't want to miss.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense, yeah.
Oh my god, the dragonfly has so many pieces! So many pieces! Takes forever to pack it. So there were so many bits of failure that would all stuck to it. So it's like, no, I'm going to try this printing mesh. And it prints a grid. I'll find the photographs of it later. So that's cool. So other prints that we've tried. So I've done this one, which is basically the engines and the cargo pod doors, because we need 6 of those, because there's 3 cargo pods, obviously. So that's those. Had a little bit of a failure on these, but I've changed my mind now. So one of the issues that we're having is that there are far too many things being printed on the Form 3 printers, and we only have 2 of those. Right. And all the Tough 2000 parts. Oh, speaking of Tough 2000 parts, look what I've printed, Drew. I need to get a piece of foam.
Oh yes! Oh, cool.
Let me just get a piece of foam. This worked really well to force my camera to focus. So this is an itty bitty Ursa rover. Come on, camera.
Tiny Ursa.
You can do it.
Oh my god, yeah.
Apparently you can't.
Nope.
There we go. So this is the tiny, tiny Ursa rover that Drew sent to me.
That's awesome. So that came out really good.
It did. So that's in the Tough 2000 resin. The only thing I needed to do was thicken the guns up a little bit.
Okay, yep.
And that front bull bar.
The front little bull, yep. That's exactly what I was thinking, yep.
Yep,
cool.
But other than that, that is the little Ursa rover all ready to rock. So that's cool. And it's, you know, it's small. It's 1 to 500. Of course, it's small. You know, it's
Yeah, it's tiny.
it's kind of small. So that's cool. So the Tough 2000 stuff is printed on the Form 2 printers, which we have 5 of. The Form 2 printer also prints faster than the Form 3 still. It's not as
No.
big a gap as it used to be, but it is still slower. There are many reasons why this is. It's a whole thing of the Form 3 fixed 3 problems that made 3 new ones, and the 3 new ones aren't as bad as the 3 old ones, but it does mean that they are slower. So fine. So what I've started to do is go, right, okay, what prints can we move over from the Form 3 to the Form 2 printer? Because if it's all being done on the Form 3 printers, it's going to take literally months and months to print all these Carracks. And we really want to start with like 100 on the shelf. You know, that kind of number, because we think it's going to be quite a popular model. It might, at this rate, it might take 3 months to print that, because it's effectively being printed on 2 printers. So like, that's not good. So trying to move, so we've got a few plans, haven't we? There's one sitting behind you. Which is, you know, quite a long way away from where I am, but there is a postal service. So you're going to be printing some parts for this. Probably the fuselages, these big pieces, because these are this is a 24-hour print for 3 of them. 24-hour prints are obviously quite handy for you because you don't need to poke them.
Easy, yep.
Oh, what question?
Longer term.
When is this piece of Carrack? Sorry about that. When will it be available? So yeah, this is kind of a roundabout of answering this question. Yeah, I don't do short answers. Do you want the long answer or the JR-ly long answer? Now we've got all the pieces that we like, and you know that we're going to build a model today that will be sent to John Crew for him to sign it off. We then need to start making it. We've got the artwork and stuff to do, as you know, that's got nearly done. That has to go for sign off and be printed and everything. But the big thing between where we are now and putting this on sale is physically manufacturing them. So once JC has given us the thumbs up that he likes this model, we can start producing it. And I say, because so much of this is printed on our new printers, and the reason we're doing so much on new printers is because the surface quality of these printers is, my camera focus, is just exceptional. And these large pieces don't do well in model resin on the Form 2. They're too liney. That's why we got the Form 3s. They print the tough 2000 stuff perfectly well. My camera's now out of focus. God, I need a new desk camera. I desperately need a new desk camera.
Favorite camera.
I really do. Wait a minute, let me poke it. It's so we've got so much on the Form 3. I'm trying to move some stuff across to the Form 2. Because one of the issues we've got is that if we don't move stuff across, it will make the Carrack a lot more expensive. Because we will probably have to buy a new printer so that we can get stuff printed in time to actually put it out for production. So one of the things I'm trying to do is move as many prints over to the Form 2 as possible. We've got to be careful which ones we do. We've got the Form 3 printers, you know, obviously for a reason. That reason being that they print nicer. The Form 2 doesn't struggle as much with small pieces, i.e. not very tall pieces. So the reason that the Form 2 has hideous print lines on occasionally, it's just occasional ones, is of the way it measures how much resin it has in its tank. So if we just flip back to mobile cam to sort of see a Form, this is a Form 2 printer printing. It has a rigid tank with the resin in the bottom, and it's got a sensor which you can't really see, but it's a sensor run by magic or some kind of telepathy, but the sensor isn't in the tank. It's outside the tank and looks through the sort of perspex of the tank and tries to determine what level the resin is. But obviously, because it's got what we call the scoosher, which is the thing, that paddle that sort of mixes the resin each time, it has to wait a moment when it's sensing the resin to let that resin settle, go flat before it can determine through ultrasound or Jedi mind power or whatever the hell it does to work out how the level is. And that can sometimes take, and then it's got to start, if it needs more resin, it has to start decanting more resin in, and that process can maybe take 2 or 3 minutes. And with the print held in the air for 2 or 3 minutes, that gives you a print line. And the Form 3 has fixed this amazingly in 2 different ways. One, the Form 3 printer's entire case is heated. The Form 2 printers just heat the resin in the tray with like a static heating element, whereas the Form 3 uses a blow heater, which heats the whole case up, which reduces print lines because the whole thing's warmer. And it also uses a float sensor, a float sensor that we invented many years ago that doesn't use magic, doesn't use Jedi Mind Players, just use the ability of floating. Formlabs, stop reinventing the wheel. The other thing that the Form 3 printer does, or doesn't do, is it does have a scoosher or a mixer, but it doesn't do it in between each print layer. I don't know if we've got actually a Form 3 still printing. We do. Let me just move the camera to a Form 3 printer. Oh no, my cable's been cooked. Stop it. There we go.
So
maybe
I
a
got a
wireless
question.
headset.
Does the Form 2 move it sideways first and then lift?
Yes.
That's interesting.
And
that's the dental one, isn't it?
I can't see what you're seeing on the screen. That's really annoying.
You can see the white one, yeah.
Yeah, let me just... I can't see if it's framed very well. Wait a minute.
That's pretty good.
That's fine. I don't know why the screen on my phone is red. So this is a Form 3 printer printing. It is randomly the dental one, and that's because when we had a hot swap once, they didn't have a Form 3, so we have a Form 3B, which is the same printer except it's white. There's no difference. None at all.
Oh, come
Other
on.
than it can dent some medical resins that the other one won't allow you to print due to software. But there is no difference in the printer itself. So there must be, otherwise they wouldn't produce 2 different printers.
Gotta be.
I know they charge more for the 3B, but there has to be a reason.
Gotta be something.
I have not found a difference yet. Because obviously we have a Form 3 sat next to it. But hey, it's white. Ooh. You can pretend it's an Apple
fancy
one.
Yeah.
So you'll see in between the layers here, it doesn't scoosh.
No scooshing,
no
and it doesn't move sideways. It just goes up.
Yeah, because the way that the Form 3 peels is because it's a flexible tank at the bottom, so it's always peeling, whereas the Form 2 has to physically shear force the print from the bed.
Oh, wow.
And that's
interesting.
That's why you can't put as much on a Form 2 print as a Form 3 print, because if there's too much surface area, especially on
it'll shear harder.
Front, it'll just go. Literally, you can hear the stepper motors going. Just fails. So either the motors say the motors are jammed because the steppers aren't moving. Sometimes it'll pick the whole tray up sometimes because it's got so much shearing force that it can actually break the little feet. So not many of our trays have 4 feet on anymore. So occasionally if there's 2 broken off, it'll actually lift the whole tray up and then boom. But surprisingly, even though that happens sometimes at the beginning of some prints, after it's got through those tricky first layers, it prints fine.
Layers,
I mean, the Form 2s are pretty bulletproof. I'll give them that. And you can absolutely rag the crap out of Form 2 trays because they're solid glass at the bottom. And when they fail, they just fail, but they don't break anything. When a Form 3 tray fails, they tear and put a litre of resin inside your printer. That's pretty much your printer fucked.
And it's gone. Yeah.
And it's gone. We've had what happened. We had to have it hot swapped. I was not cleaning that out. It was destroyed on the inside, which seems a little bit of a design flaw. But hey ho. so yeah, so there are so the Form
That's why
3 is
there's dire
created.
warnings on this.
Yeah,
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Elizabeth 2344, thank you for the follow. Yeah, so there is issues. Let's just say issues with the Form 3 and the way it does things. But I will say, it has now surpassed the Form 2 in my opinion. With its software updates, it is now better. I do now prefer it to the Form 2.
Okay, cool.
And I don't know whether
That's been a long. That's taken a while though.
That has taken a while, absolutely. It's yeah, I was quite annoyed by the Form 3s when we first got them, because they were a headache, a real headache. But they are more dependable now. To be honest, the biggest issue we had with the Form 3s, there was obviously a hardware issue with the heaters in them, and we had 4 fail on us due to heating.
Yeah.
Can
that
everyone
sucks.
else getting the weird audio from Drew? Is it just me? Please speak up in chat if the audio is really weird. It could well just be me and my headset with my insanely.
Is it weird audio?
It's my insanely long. It's my insanely long cable that I've disturbed when I walk through the other room. It'll be fine. So yeah. So right. So going back to a Form 2 printer, because that's what we are
discussing.
Oh, I can see my screen now as well. Right. So, this is an octopus. Can you see the octopus?
Yeah.
So
awesome.
All Formlabs printers have a name, and this one is called Immense Octopus. I can't hear you at all now, Drew. 1 second.
Test 1 2.
Hang on. Just entertain people for a moment for me.
Okie doke. I don't know, but actually, I could talk about my printing, what I've been doing. So I have this little guy right here, and this is a test print. So basically, I have been trying to. I have the new resin. It's called Rigid 10K, and I'm making mounts for my joysticks. So I have dual sticks. And I want to connect it to my sit stand so I can literally stand up and fly the Carrack like I would be standing up on the upper bridge. But I've been meaning to have the joysticks mounted for quite a while. So I initially want to produce. And then I was like, well, if I put the holes in the wrong place, then I'm going to have to redrill the holes. So I figured I would have to do a 3D printed... at least a 3D printed guide for the holes. So that was the idea, right? I'm going to make a guide for them. I can be able to put it on the thing and be able to drill the holes. Now with the 10K resin, I can actually do the entire print in I can do the entire thing with 3D printing. So I'm still making the fitment. So it's very, very close. Super close. I have, you can see I have 3 of the 4 in there. So I have to move this guy over. I would say probably a 0.5 millimeter on either side to make it fit. And so then, yeah. Is the audio okay now? Testing 1 2 3.
Oh, cut just once. Yeah, so this doesn't help when we're both having. No, I didn't hear it cut out other than my cable. So determined you can't put more than 3 USB extensions on this headset without it breaking.
But yeah, so I did this test print. Nice. It actually just came off the printer this morning, about 2 hours ago. Nice. So I did a couple little things with it. I don't know if you can see here. Actually, let me pull my screen up so I don't get delay. So I put the holes in there so I can put it directly on the print bed. because
yeah,
I was it was cupping, right? So it saved me a bunch of resin and a bunch of print time.
yeah.
So
might
it
be a
worked out
dickhead,
really
but
well, and then
apparently
I
he's
got
got some great friends.
the screw holes and the bolt holes set up perfectly. So that's exactly what I wanted. And then all I need to do is adjust this one little guy right here, and then I'll have the mount ready. And then I already got the circle, so obviously you can see inside my joystick.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put like a flat, panel on there that's going to go against here, and then I'm going to build out the section that goes into the mounting point.
Nice.
So yeah, the first step is to get it to fit.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Thank you very much, Bren, for the Prime sub there. Much appreciated.
awesome.
Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it's good to know. This
Yeah.
the 10K resin. Very excited to see what we can make with those.
I'm super excited about that one. Yeah.
How much is it per liter?
It's 300 US.
Jeez.
Yeah, so it's about twice as much.
That is expensive. So we won't be making merch out of that.
No, probably not.
$300
But I mean,
a liter.
I was thinking like maybe doing an Ursa in that because it's so tiny. I don't know. We'll see, because I think my next resin probably is going to be the Tough 2000.
I think it'd be interesting to print guns in it, like 1 to 100 guns and things, to see like whether, because if they become indestructible, like the missiles and things, if they become indestructible in that material, then it might be worth it, because we use so little of it to make these indestructible things. So yeah, so interesting. So yes, so apologies for that, people. I'm just going to have to deal with having a shorter cable. All Formlabs printers have a name. You don't get to pick the name. The name comes with it. It is an adjective and an animal. That's how it works. So this printer you're watching here is Immense Octopus, which is why it has a cool picture of an octopus on it. I shall now go back through here and sort of show you what we're going to do. What's your printer called, Drew?
Mine is Brave Cockroach.
Brave Cockroach. So this is Immense Octopus. Leela drew this for me. She's going to draw ones for all of our printers. Because
awesome.
So one of the issues we have is that we have quite a few of these guys, and they've all got different names. So it's always quite difficult to know which one you're actually sending prints to. So see if caught around my own cable. See if I can remember. So Marvelous Shark. Bison. What's I can't remember what bison's adjective is. 1 second. Gonna have to go into youthful bison. Brave salmon. Immense octopus. Nice. Dramatic kitten.
That's amazing. That's a great one.
That's amazing, isn't it? What are you called?
And you never forget the name too. That's the best part. It's really easy to remember names.
This one is Stalwart Fish, which I quite like but can never remember. And this guy is Future Moth. So the forms
Future Moth?
Yeah, the Future Moth, which I think is amazing. A caterpillar, is it not?
Yes.
But yeah, so the printers come with awesome names. You can't change them. You can't request them either, which is really annoying. They're physically written on the printers. I mean, they are like, they're on their circuit boards and everything. So there's not a lot you can do with them. So what we're here for, we're going to talk about a print that has failed. I'm going to move this box out of the way so I can just get a couple more inches of cable. Right.
What are you printing on that one right now?
So these are Freelancer Maxes in 1 to 500.
Very good.
These are the front bodies.
Cool.
I've probably got... So, for those of you who are excited about the 1 to 500 dioramas, there's quite a lot printed. It's getting there. So,
wow, that's awesome.
So this is what's printing in that printer.
Very cool.
So this is the front section, back section, and landing gear. Some of the landing gear, anyway.
Yeah. So the reason why I am putting in Tough 2000 in my printer next is for that exact reason.
for trying these.
I got to make sure it works on the printer, on the Form 3. Just
Absolutely.
make
Well,
sure.
it's a genuine thing because I don't have TUF 2000 in a Form 3 printer at all.
Yep.
So they're freelancers.
For science.
Some of you Cutlass fans may like these boxes. There's 1 or 2 Cutlasses in these boxes.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So they're all coming on nicely.
Very good.
So I'm going to zoom back through here. So this is the printer that we've had an issue with. Good old youthful Bison. So I'm trying to print the bridge internals for the Carrack, and they failed. Now we can kind of look into the printer. So open the lid. We can see there's been a failure. Things have failed. There's bits everywhere. It's not quite porridge, but
Exactly.
there's definitely bits obviously floating around in this. Now,
yeah.
when a Form 2 print fails, because of the scoosher that moves all the crap around, the whole print is gubbed. It will destroy itself. It'll destroy its own print, effectively. So this needs to be cleaned. Now, how warm is the resin? TUF 2000, it's 31 degrees, so it's heated up. I'd heated the resin because TUF 2000 is very viscous when it's cold and really hard to clean. So we need to clean this, and then we're going to fix the print, and then we're going to send it printing again. So this is what happens when you have a failure. First thing is to work out why it failed. The why is because the touch points aren't big enough. I know that. I just need to put bigger touch points on. So what we need to do is clean this tray, get it ready for printing again, and fix it in the software, and then send it to print. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to need some supplies. We go into the box of many supplies. We're going to need paint filters. So this is a 190 micron paint filter. Yeah, that can go in there. We're going to need a coffee cup, which we're running out of. I've only got a few coffee cups left. But we have a coffee cup. So just a 20-ounce coffee cup is enough to hold all the resin from one of these printers. So let me just go and put those on the desk. We're going to need paper towels.
Yep.
Lots of paper towels.
Lots of paper towels and IPA.
Yes, paper towels and IPA are the way forward.
Yeah.
Right, I want to.
Speaking of which, so the question I had before, I was going to hold on to for the stream. I figured I'd ask you now, since we're kind of in going towards IPA. So here and there, my wash goes to a point where all the stuff is settled at the bottom, and most of it's clear. And I'm thinking to myself, hey, if I siphon off that top layer, I can save that IPA and then clean it and then put in fresh IPA, and then I'll have like backup IPA.
So,
do you think it's worth that or not?
So, IPA. The amount of IPA I have got through in my life, I can tell you that the stuff on the top is still not really any good. Okay. The worst thing I ever did was throw away all our IPA out of these washers. So these are the washers. Right. So for those of you who don't quite get how SLA printing sort of post-processing works, it comes out the printer like this on the build platforms. They're 1 to 500 Freelancer Max engines. They come out of the printer and go in a wash. Now we have a print finished. Perfect. So this one is finished over here in that printer. So we're going to now do this task. So you have one wash, don't you, Drew?
Yep, correct.
So we have 3. And this is because what happens is the resin that's being washed off these parts contaminates the IPA. So if I just take this basket out, then we can actually have a look in these tanks. So when this IPA gets dirty, and boy does it get dirty, look at that. That is hideous. That isn't really cleaning the parts, and it's going to leave a sticky residue on the parts. And it doesn't take an awful lot of washers for that to get to the point where they're not good enough, and we'll still end up with sticky residues on them all over. So you have to change the IPA. You get through a hell of a lot of IPA that way. So we'll get on to how you recycle it in a minute. So we discovered that the answer to this solution was to have 3 washers. And this is starts on the right, works to the left. They go in 3 times.
Oh.
So we'll see by looking at this. This is wash 1. So this is getting the majority of the thick resin that's just left from the printer.
Right.
It then goes into this wash number 2, and then into wash number 3. And basically that allows us to get roughly 150 prints, we have been tallying to find out, out of 1 set of IPA. Now I say one set of IPA. What we actually do is we take the stuff out the left-hand wash and put it into the right-hand wash. We then put new IPA in these 2.
Okay.
So we're actually only using 16 liters of IPA when we refresh it, and then this stuff goes in the first wash. The stuff that comes out of this wash and this wash and this wash. No, that wash goes in that one. So the stuff that comes out of these 2, we parcel up into boxes. So that is lots of bottles of gunky IPA, and they go for recycling. So when COVID hit, everyone and their dog was making hand sanitizer, which is principally made up of IPA, isopropyl alcohol.
Right.
So the IPA price went up 8-fold.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you very much for the follow, whoever you are. I can't see a screen. Drew will tell me.
Up your shaft.
Up your shaft. How are you doing, my son? Welcome. Thank you for the follow. I'm hovering around with the camera, so I can't see a screen, but I can hear things when it happens. Thank you very much for the follow. IPA went up to about £4.80 a litre, which when you consider you need 16 litres just to refill these, and you probably need to top them up with a couple of bottles at least every couple of weeks. That was ridiculous. So I actually got an alcohol still, and that's how you recycle this stuff. You actually have to use an alcohol still. So what I do now, because it's come down in price, what I do now is save up all the old IPA, put it in a barrel, let it settle. So let all the the really gunky stuff settle to the bottom, and then scoop out the top liters, and put that in the still.
Ah, I see.
And the stuff that comes out the still is 100% perfect IPA.
Gotcha. But it's still quite a bit of resin though in it. Then is what you're saying.
There's still a lot in. There's still a lot in it, even though it looks. I'm not saying it isn't better if you're trying to get a little bit more life out of it. The issue is when you get to the point where it is leaving a sticky residue, it's not really going to. I'd say this is why we went to 3 washers, because you get a lot more out of your liters of IPA doing it this way, and you get a much more consistent result on your last one, because you're always using pretty much clean IPA onto something that's already virtually clean.
That's practically cleaned already. Yeah. So then you basically cut down the washing time by 3 then.
Yeah. So they're all set to about 6 minutes or 7 minutes or whatever.
That makes sense.
So all in all, it doesn't take any longer. But obviously, the setup cost is more because these are 400 quid each. And which might seem ludicrously expensive for what they are, but they do have to safely run and clean things with a very, very flammable liquid safely. And so that's them going again. So we've just taken that one out the printer. That's going in, and you just sort of pass the stuff down the line. Now what happens? Now we've got our finished print here. It now needs to go in a cure. These are our cures. We have 2. So open them up and we see what's inside them. Oh, lots of things. Things are inside them. So take these through and put them in the right boxes. So that's Freelancer Maxes. We're obviously printing quite heavily the 1 to 500 dioramas at the moment because they will be on
I
the shelf.
always think of that brimstone. That is one of my favorite kinds of beer as well. So
yeah, that would be an awful thing to clean 3D prints with.
oh yeah, no, that wouldn't work. That would not work so good.
So this is more Carrack prints.
But as far as Myth saying, he says that can you hit that spent IPA with high intensity UV and cure it out of the IPA so it sinks as a solid?
So if you put it out in the sunshine, it literally set the whole, and this is sort of the proof, if proof be needed, that IPA might look cleaner at the top but isn't, will literally set into a solid block.
Really?
Yep. Sometimes I've left one near a window, and this is Scotland, so not exactly sunny, and you come back the next day and it is just a solid block bar of soap, effectively.
That is insane.
Yep.
Wow.
So it's
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Right.
Well, the fact that the price has gone back down it just makes it kind of silly for me, especially doing just a couple prints here and there, to like have to worry about recovering the IPA and all that stuff. But I do want to make sure that I'm doing it right.
Yeah, and I say we felt very stupid at the amount that we disposed of, and this is the other thing. It's very hard to dispose of. You have to basically put it in. We put it in old paint cans and sealed them up, and then took them to the chemical waste thing because you can take sealed paint cans up. But and then we chucked all this away, and then the price went through the roof, and it's like, oh god, now we've got to buy a still.
Yeah. Exactly.
So we've taken those off the build platform. They are, in case anyone's interested, teeny tiny 1 to 500 arrows.
Very cool.
Working very nice.
And now that's got a separate setting for the tough and the cure?
Yes, so tough resin. So what these things do is they're UV and heat. So Tough 2000 needs to go on for 60 minutes at 60 minutes at 70 degrees Celsius. Quite hot for quite a long time. We then take some IPA and clean the build platform. Get any residue off the build platform. Around the sides, and then put it on the pile. We have about 21 of these build platforms now. We shouldn't have 21 of them. But
now you got the pressure release hole now.
Yes, we've drilled holes in them all now. Not all of them, but all the ones that have ever failed. We now drilled holes in the tops because they kept failing, and drilling holes fixes them.
Yeah.
Who knew? Us. Form Labs in the end just went, yeah, do as you like. We don't care anymore. We're sick of sending you new build platforms every 5 minutes.
Stop blowing out the sides.
Yeah, and I genuinely think it's because we're in Scotland.
I think it is the pressure differential.
Yeah, they were going in so cold because it was happening during the winter, and obviously not that we don't heat our house, but it wasn't warm up here. And when the printer starts, I should show you since we've got one that's not running. When the print starts, the build platform comes all the way to the bottom, and that is the heater vent that's spitting out air at about 45 degrees Celsius.
Okay.
And it's going right onto the side of the build platform, which is aluminium. So it's heat transferring really fast into the air on the inside. And, say it's 20 degrees in the room, you put it in there, that air is expanding quite considerably, quite quickly. And that's what was popping the seals out. But we have now fixed it.
Cool.
But they'd sent us so many new build platforms for free, which we've now managed to recover. Ooh, no. So this is an interesting thing. So does this have a bit of resin on the bottom? No, it's okay. That's fine. Sometimes what can happen is because you're washing them this way up, you can end up with IPA getting trapped inside. So sometimes it's a good idea with certain prints to take them off the build platform after the second wash and put them in the basket the other way round for the last wash, because then it's washing it the other way up.
Right.
So this is model resin. So this goes in for 60 minutes as well, but only at 60 degrees. So they're now running. So that's cool. So without further ado, let's take this tray out. Right, so this is probably one of the things that makes Formlab printers so amazing, is how you change the resins in them.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Simple. You just take the damn tray out.
Yep.
Right, so we're going to move through here. And
Angie, how you doing, buddy?
Hello, Angie. How are you? Going to move to a different camera. There we go. So we're now over here. There's so many cameras. Lovely. Cameras. Right, so we've got our coffee cup, got our filter. We've got our tray.
I love this view, though. I want to kind of replicate that with moving the printer downstairs and such.
Yeah, absolutely. It is really, really cool. I've left the IPA through here somewhere. There it is. Yeah, having different cameras, I kind of need more cameras, and them set up in slightly better places, and then have some way of remotely triggering, going from one to another. But
yeah, that's I would hook it up with the Stream Deck, so you just have buttons and you go. I want to go to the scene of that scene.
Yeah, but I've got to take the Stream Deck with me. Is it wireless?
Oh, I wonder.
I could just have a wireless. I'll just have a few cheap wireless keyboards around the place, I suppose.
Right?
Just
yeah.
A hotkey. Right. So we know we've got a failure in there, so there's bits floating around. So I'm just going to pick these out to start with. So a Form 2 tray has a glass bottom to it, and then like a gel coating on the top.
I'm going to call you No Gloves Louie from now on. I always wear my gloves when I deal with this stuff.
Oh, really?
It is such nasty. Oh, God, it's the goo. It's the goo.
It is. I should totally wear gloves. I don't with this resin. I'm one of these people that, like, I find out whether I'm allergic to something as quickly as possible, so that I know whether I need to be careful with it or not. Some things I am allergic to, and I'm very. I don't ignore health and safety. I just adapt it to my life. It's like hard hats.
Fast and loose.
I don't wear hard hats an awful lot either. You have to take them to sites, and it's just like the only job that I was a real health and safety Nazi on with regards to hard hats. We used to do a gig called Dinner in the Sky. Where we took a 22-seater dining table, purpose-built obviously, up on a crane to 130 feet, which was an awesome gig. But you were kind of hung off the side of it in like racing bucket seats, having a meal, or we often used to do a champagne bar up it and stuff, which was really cool. But
That's
people
really
would
cool.
Drop crockery and their phones and glasses and things 130 feet down. That was a gig you wore your hard hat for. I got hit in the head several times, or hit in the hard hat several times by keys and coins
and such. I can imagine,
falling out of people's back pockets. It was an awesome gig there.
Yeah, it's absolutely a unique experience, I'm sure.
Yeah, it didn't work too well for restaurants and stuff. We had like Heston up there, we had Gordon Ramsay up there once.
Yeah.
And it was cool, I guess. So, if you were a foodie and were really into that chef, it was an amazing experience for you, because that chef was stuck with you 3 feet away in the middle. I mean, there was like a full-blown 3-phase oven in the middle of this thing. It had like a kitchen in the middle.
Insane.
It was amazing. So they were there cooking. I mean, don't get me wrong. They had a sous kitchen down at the bottom in Marquise, so they were just doing the finishing touches. It wasn't like a full-blown kitchen up there. But the chef was up there, and they were trapped with you. So if you were a fan of Gordon Ramsay or Jamie Oliver or whoever we had up there, they couldn't escape you and your questions for like 3 hours. So if you were a foodie and you wanted to meet these particular chefs and stuff, it was perfect. However, if you wanted to eat soup, it was less good because you were when you eat, you lean forward over your plate and eat.
Yeah.
Well, when you are strapped in a 5-point racing harness to a racing bucket seat, you can't lean forward. So you have to bring the soup to you. Doesn't end well.
No.
Didn't work for food. As a champagne bar, it was amazing. Because you don't need to lean forward to get arsehole champagne. Yeah. So it was a great champagne bar. We used to do Hyde Park Festival with it. And so although we weren't above the crowd, your brain kind of doesn't realize that. The like forced perspective when you're that high, you actually felt like you were over the crowd watching the music stuff. That was
that's cool. Yeah,
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately,
for sure.
But if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you very much for the follow, Widowmaker or Windowmaker. I can't.
Widowmaker 79. Yeah, Windows.
Windowmaker would be less. would be less aggressive.
Less intimidating.
Widowmaker, no, Windows Maker. Oh,
Windows.
Bill Gates.
Windows. Totally different.
Bill Gates, the Windowmaker.
The Windowmaker. Yeah, the people who said we were only going to have Windows 10 forever and ever, and then there's Windows 11.
Bitter much? Right. So while this is great, so this is running through this filter. Although there's a window in front of me here, it's not particularly sunny. It's sort of evening and cloudy now. Can I take this opportunity to put out we are thinking about you all over in Europe. Anyone who is affected in France and Belgium and Germany. I know there's a few of you guys that we've been getting in touch with because we know you're in the area. It looks absolutely fucking horrific. I know it doesn't help. We are having extreme weather at the moment. It is just extremely nice for Scotland. We have had less rain in Scotland. You have all of it. I mean, like literally all of it. We haven't had rain in over 7 weeks. Which is unheard of for Scotland, and it is just climate change is a bitch. It's just like
no kidding.
It just moves things from where they should be, and for the people who are prepared for it, to places it shouldn't be, where people are not prepared for it. I can see the Clyde out this window. We went for a walk yesterday, and I walked across the Clyde to about 4 different places. Now at this time of the year, it should be above my head.
Wow!
And it's just not. There's just no water in the river. It is absolutely bizarre. Absolutely
that is crazy.
Bizarre. But yeah, so it's not particularly sunny through the window, which is what I was getting at. If you leave a pot of resin like this, a photo-cured resin, near a window and you live in a sunny country, when you come back to it, it'll be solid. However, today is overcast and it's getting into evening now, so we're fine for 5 minutes, letting it sit there. It was one of those weird things. I was cleaning a tray because I'm in Scotland and it's not usually an issue. It was a really, really sunny day and I just didn't think. And as I was cleaning it, it's like it was developing a film on top. It's like, what the hell's going on? I was like, you dumbass, it's really sunny and next to a window. It's like this never happened to me before. Yeah. It's never been that sunny in Scotland. And I'd moved the desk near the window.
Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that happened in Texas over here. Like, if we had a winter storm like that, it wouldn't even be a blip. We would not care whatsoever. No issues. Nobody'd be dying. Nobody would have, electrical issues. Nothing like that. But when it hits a place that has never seen snow before, it turns into a disaster. And it's just, my heart goes out to everybody over there. And I just hope for the best. So.
And the guys that are having the heat wave on the other side, the Canadian, villages are going up to 45 degrees. It's just like, as you say, you're not prepared for it. You don't have ACs that will cope with it. I mean, if Scotland got that kind of heat wave, we'd be screwed. No one has an air conditioning unit in this country. Of course we don't.
Of course
Good God, what the hell do we have one of those for?
Exactly.
Carrack screens, while we're waiting for that, since they're out here. Cool. Now, obviously, last stream, we did some casting of the Carrack bridge section noses.
Glad to hear everybody's safe, buddy.
I can't can't see chat. Sorry. Yes. No.
Oh yeah. Lurtek. I don't know how to say names, everybody. But yeah. So it's great to hear that they're all safe. It's scary, but it's great to hear.
It is. We got in touch with the guy that organises the Liège Bar Citizen, because obviously Liège was really badly hit. Check he was all right, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm in like Marbella or something. He's on holiday." It was like, "You picked a cracking time to leave the country."
Yeah, no kidding.
So, hope you have a house when you get back. So the first Carrack screen I did was a failure because I hadn't left it to cure for long enough, and it tore basically when I took it out of the mold. So okay, scratch that. We then did another one on stream, and that was a success, which I will show you in a second. I then did another one the next day, and I stupidly followed the instructions, and that is what happened. So this one's hilarious. If you can see this. Yeah.
Perfect.
So what happened there was, what happened was,
what had happened was,
so it says 10 to 15 minutes cure time under pressure. So that's what I did, and I took it out after 10 to 15 minutes, 15 minutes in fact, and put it in the oven, and this is what I got out. Turned out when I did it on stream the day before, we'd sat and nattered for an hour and a half afterwards. And it was fine. So it hadn't fully hardened. So when it came out the pressure pot, all of those teeny tiny bubbles that had been compressed down to unseeable bubbles at 60 psi went, "No, I want to be a really big bubble again," and did this.
Oh, wow.
So
that's insane.
It is insane, but now we're happy.
Yes.
So you can see the seats inside. You can see the bridge deck.
That looks so good.
So that is an actual, and this has now been clear coated. So that is an actual Carrack bridge.
Very cool. Very cool.
Cast into.
Wow. Yeah, it is freaking awesome.
So pleased with that. So pleased with that.
Yes.
And that's what it looks like on a Carrack. And it's just too fucking nice. I've got to be honest. I'm really happy with it.
Nice blue tint there, and
nice blue tint. Yes.
Great.
So the blue tint. So the second one is the one that's in the Carrack is a slightly more tinted one, which I like.
Okay.
So we're happy with the slightly darker blue tint. But yeah, it's just so happy with her. So happy.
Fantastic.
So obviously we're going to be manufacturing these. So I put the clear coat on now, and they have gone beautifully crystal clear, which is great. What that means is, because when we did the master, this guy here, which was the casting master for that, we didn't polish this because I wanted to see what result we would get without polishing it. The result is great, so it's fine. So now we can make a new master with like 5 on. And they can be fairly close together because we don't need to get in between them to polish them because we're not going to bother. So now we can make a mold that can do a lot of these bridges at once.
Very cool.
For obviously mass producing them. So that's cool. Right. So this has now gone down as much as it will. See, I need to install James's software so Drew can control the cameras for me.
That'd be cool. There you go.
Right, so what we're going to do in here, I put the scoosher, as I call it, into the wash. Let me just wipe that clean. Obviously, if it's had a really big failure, there'll be bits of resin caught up in this and what have you.
Right, and the Form 3 has a scoosher, but it's all internal.
Yeah, it floats on magnets. Well, it doesn't float on magnets. It gets dragged by magnets. Yeah. And I say I've never had to clean one because I've never had a failure in a Form 3 that's left it like porridge. Because when it fails, because it doesn't scoosh between layers, it doesn't move whatever fails stays where the hell it was and just is attached to the film. Whereas in a Form 2, it moves, this scoosher moves everything around and mixes the failure up and makes it a lot worse. Which is obviously very unhelpful. So we're going to put the scoosher back in. We should call it a mixer since that's what it actually is. Throw the So we're going to pour this resin back in. And then I'm just going to leave the cup there. And the reason I'm leaving the cup in there is it's quite a thick thing, so it'll just take a while to dribble out, and this is 150 pounds a litre, so I don't really want to waste any. We've had another print finish in here, so that was the print we were looking at before. So let's take him out. We'll try and do live cam. It's like those 90s disco thing that follows it around, right? So you can go in there. You can come out to dry. So they do need to dry for a while. I do find the tough resin takes longer to dry the IPA off than the other resins. Don't know why. They need to get a build platform. Put the build platform in the printer. We need more of them. So we go success. Print it. Go. Now, this button that you have to press to make it start is ridiculous. Because it means that, you know, you can't start it automatically. Because you have to press the button. Whereas on the Form 3s, as you know, Drew, you can sort of prime it so that you can tell it that it's going to print. And then as soon as you send a print to it,
I'm
it
just
starts
happy
printing.
to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Oh,
Corbin
it is
Jones,
very cool.
thank you for the follow. Thank you very much.
So, my guest arrived a little early, and I guess that the game is going soon. So, I will have to call it here.
Okie dokie. Yeah, that is fine.
It was a blast.
It was indeed. Let me just reappear so I can say goodbye to you. Yes, okay. It was blast. I hope you had fun. Now we have Darge is going to drop in as well.
Yeah.
At some point. So I shall see you next week. Oh no, I don't know if I'm here next week.
Oh, okay.
We're traveling back on Sunday, so I don't know whether we're going to be back for the stream or not. But I'll let you know.
Well, let me know. I'll be around.
Cool. Excellent. Have a good match.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and good luck.
Thank you. See you later.
Hey, everybody. Bye.
Cool. Westbrook has gone. So yeah. So Darge will drop in at some point, and he will jump in, and he will appear. Hopefully, he'll start talking in my ear to go, "I'm here now." And everything will be fine. Right, so I'm going to sail this ship one-manned now. That'll be entertaining for everybody. So, where are we at? We are looking at. So that's clean. That's gone. Oh, let's fix it. Let's fix it. That's what we need to do. So, like I said, we had a print issue. It failed, and it's because the build touch points under here were not strong enough. Now we were trying to print 20 of these bridge interiors simultaneously, which is obviously there's quite a lot of shearing force. If we look at the slicer, this gives us an idea of what the Form 2 is having to do. So when it starts those bottom layers, quite a lot of area there, fine. Didn't have an issue with that. Did all this fine, did all this fine, did all this fine. It obviously started printing these because we picked them out of the resin. So it must have got to about here and then failed. So that says that when it's getting to this point here, when it's peeling, when it's finished its layer and it's sort of peeling sideways, there wasn't enough. There wasn't enough support underneath for that to shear off. Does it help if you rotate the prints? Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes putting them at 45 degrees will help. So a lot of the time what you don't want to do is actually print them flat like this. There are the reasons why I want to print them flat like this in this circumstance is because if we let it go all the way up to the top, there are the 3 pilot seats here. And I'm kind of sneaking these supports down on the inside, and as soon as I start tilting this, I can't do that. So it's one of those lesser of two evil things. Thankfully, this is one of these circumstances where I don't. It's for the first time, it doesn't kind of matter how big touch points are because you guys aren't having to deal with it. Because I need to take these off the build structure and cast them into the resin, into the bridge section. So if these bottom bits need a little bit more sanding, what I'll probably do is I've got a mini belt sander that I can put a high grit on, so I'm probably going to be using that. So it kind of doesn't matter that these are going to get bigger touch points than I would usually like. Only 2 failed off this whole platform. The first time, all of them failed, and that isn't necessarily we're at that cusp point. Sometimes on a Form 2, if one fails, it'll just literally knock all the other ones off. So the fact that only 2 failed is actually quite interesting because it obviously didn't move them around too much. But we're just going to up the touch points. I don't think we need to go up much more. So I'm going to delete all of the but 1 so that we only have to correct it on 1 and then copy. So we want full raft. We want all of that. So yeah, normally you would print this at an angle, and there are advantages to doing that. So we can just select all of these touch points at once. it's a Dodge. Hello.
Hi there.
Hello, good sir. How are you?
Too bad I don't have this in stereo, because that was like that binaural thing, that makes you look to the right or left because it just. Where's Drew?
His mate arrived early, so he literally disappeared like 2 minutes ago. I've only had to hold the fort down for like 2 minutes on my end, so we're all good. I don't have your camera yet though.
Oh, wait.
Which link were you on? The top one or the?
I'll go for co-host 1.
Co-host 1. See if you appear. It's the magic.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Hold. Yeah. It looks like camera reset. Hold on, it's super bright. Because that's what cameras do, apparently.
That is what cameras do, right? So I've highlighted all these at the bottom because these are all the touch points. The others are fine. It's currently at 0.45 mil. So that is, I'd usually think enough, but hey ho, it's not. So we're just going to up it to 0.5. Should we put any more on? I wonder if it's a lack of them. Seems to be enough, I think. Let's go with as enough. What I will do is rotate it 45 degrees like that, because that often can, for some reason. Hello, Dodge. I can see you now.
Hello. Yes, it was a bit delayed, but here I am. Hello.
Thank you for jumping in and co-hosting, and for showing me how all this amazing OBS Ninja works. It's very ninja.
Yeah.
Now the question is, if we do put them this way, will we get as many on the print? Because that would be annoying.
Oh, you're doing that thing. I have to do that in AutoCAD, and it's a bitch.
Yeah, so Preform, which is this software, which is the slicer software for Formlabs printers, in general, I really like. There are a few couple of years ago, there was a lot I hated about software, and so amusingly, Preform, I always used to be in a race with Star Citizen because we were at 3.8 on Preform when Star Citizen was 3.9. But then Preform obviously got some more devs because we're now at 317 on Preform, so it's overtaken Star Citizen quite significantly now.
So they don't do quarterly patches then?
No, they just do patches when shit's be broken. Well, no, actually that's not true. It's because they released the Form 3 printer and then the Form 3L printer and then the Fuse printer. Every time a new printer comes out, there's loads of updates because they're adding the printer in, but they're also adding all the new resins and things.
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you, Red Monster SC, for the follow. It's they have now caught up. There are a few things that I still keep whining at Formlabs about that I would love to be able to do. I'd like to be able to group components together because a lot of the time we want to print things because we're a bit odd. Yeah, I know, right? Most people using these printers are not sending their print out still on their supports.
Mm.
We do it obviously because the kits would be an absolute fortune if we had to pay people to sit and take everything off their supports. In the same way that Citadel Miniatures don't sit and take them all off the supports before they send them out to you, because they'd be a fortune. So we often try and amalgamate prints together. Now, this is basically two build platforms that have been mashed together, so they print as one. What I would like to be able to do is group those two components and then have the software just create one build platform for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I move them around, they stay together better. I mean, you can move them around. You can select a few, but sometimes if you get them too close to the edge, they'll move.
So you'd probably have to do that before you export. You need to position them in the same.
Yeah, so you can do it that way and send it through, but then if you wanted to tilt one and not the other, then you have to go back into the previous software to do it. What I'd like to be able to do in Preform is just go, right, I've got all these how I want them. I'm just going to group these together, and I want you to apply a single RAF to this group of things. Just treat them as if they were all one file. And I don't see why that would be an issue for them. It's just probably something that not many people have ever asked for, because so few people are sending stuff out on supports.
Yeah. No, it sounds like it should be a thing that should be doable. Like you have assemblies and sub-assemblies in like not procedural CAD, but whatever CAD software I use. So you have like just trees of sub-assemblies just going all the way down. So you can go all the way in, do an adjustment, and it just propagates to every bit.
Yes, and that would be awesome as well, because sometimes if you've got loads of components like this, I just want to adjust I just want to adjust the touch points on one of them. I want it to do the same to all of them, but it won't. You have to go and do them all individually, or do what I've done here and just do one and then just copy it again. Have you created the copies in CAD and then made the whole go? So you can do that, Angie. You can do that, but then you can't change the orientation in Preform compared to each other. So sometimes you want to position things for the rigging of the touch points. It's like I have to go back into the other CAD program and move that one letter. It's like pain in the ass. So the other thing I do, I'll send this to a printer. Which printer? Useful by
also I think, just looking at this, you could do maybe 5 a row.
Potentially, but then I think we would be getting into the area of it being too dense for a Form 2 printer. So Form 2 printers, if they get too dense, the shear force, because they have to peel the whole layer off the glass in one go, if you pack them too tightly, they will actually fail. Well, that's something I don't think of. My computer is starting to stutter because Preform has maxed out my CPU.
You could, just while you're streaming, you could set for set a couple of cores aside, so the software doesn't use it. Yeah, whatever the terminology is.
Yes, what I am going to do is save it and then send it from another computer. So that's fine. Let me just do that.
Yeah, process priority, process affinity. What peasant CPU do you have in this computer?
9900K overclocked, 5.2 on a single core. Because I use it for CAD an awful lot, so it's that whole thing of I've maxed out one core because at the most of the time it's stuff like 3D Coat and stuff is just using that one core. So right, so that's sent to the printer, so that is going to carry on printing, and hopefully that one won't fail. So
fantastic.
That's task 1 done. Right, so task 2, we need to go over to the table. Okay. So,
have you streamed from the phone yet with this setup?
Yes. Let's show him.
Yes. I always like seeing my students do the things I teach them properly.
Do the thing. Yes. So there we have mobile cam. So that's watching the printer Immense Octopus printing. So you can actually see the tray slowly moving to the right now.
It's a bit low res.
No, it is a bit, isn't it?
Very pixelated on stream. Look at the leaf or the octopus or whatever it is.
It is. Well, you'll have to help me optimize that.
Ooh, action.
Yes, watching SLA 3D printers is really boring. FDM printers are a lot more therapeutic, I think, to watch. Because they've kind of got the head that's going round and everything.
Yeah, it's basically like a CNC thing. Yeah,
I should not approve.
Nope.
How dare you? Yeah, I mean,
it's probably something to do with OBS. Like I don't know what, but it's a learning curve.
It is. But at least we have mobile cam.
Mm-hmm.
At least we have mobile cam. That's awesome. Right, so I've plugged that in there. Because I just realized I forgot to plug the power cable back into. Right, so
that wouldn't have been it, but yeah.
No, but it'll just die on me otherwise. Right, so we're on desk cam now. So, the Carrack has obviously got a blue tinted canopy. There she is. There's a blue tinted canopy.
Yes, I saw that. I saw the photos on Discord, and it is amazing.
It is lovely. Now, its other components of clearness are all its windows, which currently are not tinted blue. Now, this is obviously tinted blue. We have tinted the blue resin, so the blue resin is in here. This is Smoothcast 325 EU. Now, we've discovered that this is too quick, so we're going to go over to 326 for the actual production run, because that'll give me a bit more time to do it. So we've dyed this the right color now. However, we need to dye the 3D print resin the same color. And I've never dyed 3D print resin before. So we have alcohol inks, which is apparently how you do it. We rang Formlabs and they went, oh yeah, you can totally do it. We suggest it for people doing dental stuff all the time. You want alcohol ink. Cool. So we went and we bought some alcohol. So we have some blue alcohol ink here. So now we have to dye the 3D print resin so it's the same blue. So that's what
and you have absolutely no idea how to use, because once it prints, it's going to change intensity and everything. So
exactly. So this is a journey of discovery.
And how long to print until you can actually see what the intensity is?
So, in theory, we should be able to print something very, very quick in maybe 20 minutes and actually see what color it's going to be. So, I need to go and get some cups. So, talk amongst yourself for a moment.
Hello, chat. Do you see that thing on the desk? Well, am I pointing the right way? I think I'm pointing the right way. Yes. To be honest, I did not believe JR when he talked about his plans for the Carrack canopy, like to make it solid and make it look good. But proven wrong once again. I'm not ashamed to admit it. It looks fantastic, and I can't wait to get mine. Gonna get one, no matter what. Has he shown you the photos he took as he parades around the office, the build area? There he is.
I am back. Right. So, obviously, so this is a Form 2 build tray that's got clear resin in it at the moment. So this is exactly the same as the one we cleaned earlier, except it's got clear resin in. Now we're going to print these new canopies that we've been doing. So I've been doing some of the new crystal clear arrow canopies, which are very nice. They're on the new printer, they're on the Form 3 printer. We actually don't want these to be crystal clear, because we want these to light up under LED, so we certainly don't need them to be crystal clear. We won't coat them, and doing them on the old printer will actually make them a little bit more foggy, so it's kind of what we want. Plus, we're trying to move as many prints over to the Form 2 printers as possible, because we have a lot more of them. So I want to dye enough resin to do a really good production run on the Carracks. So what I'm thinking is that and I don't want to have to keep remixing this stuff. So, what's my biggest mixing pot? Ooh, only 2 liters. So, we can do what's in the tray plus another cartridge. So I won't use that one. So the trays hold about... We'll find out. I actually know what the trays hold, if I'm honest. You don't fill them by hand, the printer dispenses them in, so... It's got some dust in it. Let's not have dust in it, so that's a bit of IPA clean out. So what we're going to have to do, I don't now need a perfectly clear Form 2 print tray because I'm moving these perfectly clear stuff like the arrow screen and stuff over to the Form 3 printers. So we can sacrifice this tray now because we won't use it in the Form 2 anymore with clear resin in. So we shall convert this tray into our blue clear resin. Let's get the scooter out. I'm not going to worry about the tiny bit of resin on that. I'm not going to worry at all. Let's just go in there.
Stop dipping it in. Trying to shake the resin off, and you keep dipping it in. Oh.
I've got the scraper. I was going to say. I'm sure I had the scraper earlier. So we need to get all of it out of here because we need to obviously dye what's in the tray already and what's in the cartridge the same fucking color.
Why does this remind me of something from Breaking Bad?
That would be a very different stream.
That's on Mixer.
Okay, so that can all be in there.
How long does each resin component last on its own?
The ones that you mix together.
Yeah, or the one you had in the tray right now.
Oh, right. So the tray that I don't know why I'm looking through here because it's not in a printer, is it? The stuff that's in this tray will last about, I think it's 3 months.
Oh, okay.
But I've never had one stop working on me. So I guess because we print a hell of a lot, so we don't really have trays that we leave for that kind of length of time. They will start to separate a little bit, some of the resins, but it just mixes them back together and it's fine. Because it's not a two-part, because it's a photo cured resin, it's not a chemical cured resin. It's not too bad. Right, so we need to pour the whole of this cartridge in. So the way this dispenses, it has a little rubber nipple on the bottom that the printer squeezes. So we're going to do it to let air in the bottom. So apparently, Formlab's clear resin isn't actually clear. It's slightly amber.
Slightly yellow, yeah.
Interestingly, pretty much the exact same color as the 325 resin. Which makes sense because it's very difficult to make perfectly water clear resin. The only resins that are water clear are the hideous ones that I'm allergic to. So,
but water isn't clear either. It's slightly blue.
Well, there you go. So it's got a slight yellow hue to it. So there's 250 milliliters. It turns out in a tray because this is a liter cartridge and I'm now up to 1250. Now this is only gradiated to 2 liters, but this other cartridge that's on the floor here is not a full cartridge. So we'll definitely get this in. The more, the merrier.
So you're gonna mix the entire thing, and then what happens if it's too vivid?
Shut up.
I mean, I know what you're gonna do if it's not vivid enough. You can just add a bit more. But what if it's too vivid?
We add another cartridge of resin.
Oh, right. That's not expensive at all.
No, I know, right? Yeah. So the theory is the more resin we have to mix in, the more control we'll have over the color.
This is true, yes. So just start tiny droplets and then go from there.
Yes, exactly. Well, the amount of resin we ended up putting in that mix for whatever that is, half a litre, whatever it is, ended up being 2 microns of a drop or something. I mean, we literally put a drop on a slide and then dipped a cocktail stick into it about 3 times, and that was it. But,
yeah, and this is a different diet as well, so you have no idea what it's going to be.
Learn by doing. Learn by doing. Oh, good God. Right, so there we go. So that's our 1,750 milliliters of Formlabs clear resin. Here is our blue dye. So I'm guessing because it's alcohol dye, it's going to be very thin. Unlike the other stuff, which was a gel. So that's a difference to start with. So I'm probably not going to be able to use my slide technique this time. But I'm going to try anyway. Yeah, that's obviously a lot more liquid. But
the suspense.
The suspense is killing us. It's quite pretty.
Ooh.
So this is nowhere near as strong as the other stuff.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah. Also, you need one of those medicinal or medical or laboratory mixers. It's like a steel capsule.
Right.
And it has a magnetic base. Jeez, fucking Christ.
You okay?
yeah. Just the wind shutting doors.
Sounded serious?
Yeah. So you have like this steel capsule, probably wrapped in plastic so it doesn't contaminate. And the base is magnetic and the magnet spins. And it takes the capsule with it.
Oh, right, yeah. So the IPA washers work quite similarly. They have a plastic impeller with magnets in, and then there's a magnet
all
the
that,
housing.
yes, yeah.
Okay, so I'm quite happy with that. That looks pretty. That looks about the same blue, I think. Now I think this is going to be less blue when it's printed. The other thing is, if this ended up being a bit too blue, because of what we're using it for, i.e. the windows on the inside of the Carrack that we want to light up with a blue hue,
yes,
it's less of an issue, because we're not actually looking through this at any point.
Okay, cool. And also you could advise, people just use a different color LED if you want to change the color.
Yes, that's also true. Why, what other color would you want?
Blood green.
Blood green. Well, I suppose, people might want to do like different color schemes than the standard Carrack, I suppose. So, right, so I'm going to put that cap back on. We're now going to make a hell of a mess. A wise man wouldn't just pour it out of this massive pot.
Yes, get a funnel. Be smart, get a funnel.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a funnel as such.
Do you have a water bottle that you could cut the top off and use as a funnel?
Yes. I've got a lot of IPA bottles, but I don't think the neck of them is as small as the...
Oh, yes.
What I do have is a syringe.
All
right.
See you next time. But the next time we stream, he should probably be finished transporting all the resin from one container to another with
no,
the
it's
syringe.
like a 300 milliliter syringe. It's not like a tiny syringe. It's just like one pipette at a time. Yeah, we're going to use this technique.
But yeah, it's pretty much getting Breaking Bad vibes from this. You have a little hammer to break it afterwards.
Yeah. Use the old pouring cup technique. I should say, if you are using these sort of resins, you are supposed to wear gloves and stuff.
Mm-hmm. You know. How many whiskey glasses have you ruined by now?
This is not a health and safety stream. This is a JRDF stream. You're here to watch making, not safety.
Mm.
But yeah, on a serious note, like you should take caution with the resins. I say I know which ones through poking them, which ones I am and aren't allergic to. So, so we're all good. All right. So this is now a full one.
And yes, yes, you just get a proper controller and a RGB strip inside. Just have the unicorn vomit going on all the time.
Oh yeah, uniform. So it looks like there's a party going on in your Carrack.
Yes.
Right, now we need 250 mil left. That's a little bit less than that. If we put too little into the tray, it's fine because it'll obviously the printer will just fill it. That's fine. There we go. So we now have...
I'm just happy to blame JR immediately, but if you insist, we will look at the evidence.
Thank you for the follow. Dash will tell me who it was.
It was JojoBaz93_CH. I'm assuming from Switzerland.
Thank you very much. Alright, now we need the tray. I shall put the remainder back in here. Like it was planned.
Oh, I don't know if you've seen the photo, or have you been streaming all this time, but Thorsten has almost finished painting the duh.
Oh, no, I haven't. I have not seen that. For all of yous out there that are not members of our Discord, please !Discord in chat.
Indeed.
Discover our awesome public JRDF Discord, where there is much information about making in general, and especially quite a lot of information about making our kits. We had someone ask about specific paints and stuff that were used for the box, the arrow that's on the box. Brett hasn't actually replied with those yet, but Lupercal, who's done a very, very similar paint scheme, has done a hugely detailed response of all the different paints that he's used for his and that kind of stuff. So if you're ever wondering what paints to use to get particular color schemes and all the rest of it, there is a lot of very, very helpful human beings in our server that have painted them, and let's have a look at this.
So I'm gonna paste the link in chat so they can see, but you can't because you're busy doing things.
What? Oh, on the Twitters.
Yes.
On the Twitters. That's.
Are you sneaking off to a computer to check chat?
Well, I thought I'd put it up on screen. There we go. So people don't leave to go to other browser windows. What if they don't have two screens? Looking good. Looking good. Mm-hmm. Well done, Thorsten. Looking good. Do like the dirt color scheme. It is very nice. So yeah, looking good, mate. Looking good. Superb. We shall like and retweet that. There you go. Yeah, fantastic. I wish I could paint. I know it sounds tough. I've not actually painted one of our models yet. I kind of want to do a... So one of the cool things that now Darsh has set us up a bit better with cameras and feeds and all this sort of stuff, is that we can do screen sharing magic. So what I want to do is get Brett or Lupercal to come and co-host a stream and basically do a paint along tutorial type thing. So we'll see their desk on their head, and I will just sit back and drink and chat as they paint stuff. And I thought we could do like a bit of a live sort of paint along type thing. Would be cool. Right, so that's that. So we've just got to put this get this Carrack box put together for JC. So that's all that's left on our to-do list. Drunk painting would be a great skill. No, I will be drunk. Luke will be sober. I won't be painting. I'll just get drunk. It'll be fine.
Please don't put such limitations on Lupercal. He could be drunk as well.
He might want to also be drunk. That's very true. So we're just going to let that drip over there for a moment, because there's quite a lot in this cup. I'm going to get rid of these two things. So I'm going to have to label those that they are... Right. Don't just say you're going to label them. Let's get a pen. Blue. Because then I won't accidentally put it into a printer thinking it is actually clear. Because only bad things will happen if we do that. So those are ready. So I will set a print going after the stream, and we shall see what the result of that is. So that's awesome. So this is the Carrack that we're going to be sending to JC. So it just needs its windows put in. Obviously, we need to print them in the blue. So that's cool. It's got its nose. It's got all that kind of stuff.
Oh, it looks so fucking good.
Oh, isn't it? I love it. I'm not a Carrack fan, but I'm a huge...
hurry with the damn instructions as well.
Yes. So for all those that don't know, Daj is doing the instructions and has done the last 3 kit models instructions. So the 2 Cyclones and the Durr. So these beautiful instructions that we now have for our kits. Aren't they pretty? So pretty. So we're doing the Carrack ones at the moment. The Carrack ones are going to be the best we've ever done, because we're going to put a lot of other stuff in with them as well.
Yes, indeed.
So what do we send to JC? So Mr. John Crew, is our current person at Cloud Imperium Games that signs off our physical merchandise. So when we've finished a new product that we want signed off, we send him a fully built version of it and the kit itself. So here is the kit itself. I might do... You won't see my face, but that's not a very bad thing. But it would be better if you could see the box a bit better. There we go. So this is our first sort of prototype. Ignore this on the top. This is just this one's one for Paul Jones. It obviously isn't centered, which is why it was a failure. This was just me setting my laser up. I have a lot of these boxes that I have down here, because when you set something up on the laser, you need to zero it for height, and you do that by burning a hole. So there's lots of these boxes with loads and loads of holes over them, because I've used them for zeroing the laser, because obviously they're the right size. So inside, we don't have any top bits of foam. There'll be 3 bits of foam at the top, with the instructions and everything at the top. But this is the first layer. So this is the first layer of the Carrack. We're going to change this, because we're moving this over to 2 prints on the Form 2 rather than this one on the Form 3. But other than that, this is the top layer. So what do we have in the top layer of the Carrack? Well, we have our beautiful canopy with our bridge cast inside it. We have... Oh, I've taken it out because I needed it. It's that bloody useful. We have a little thing in here with our Carrack stick. For all those who aren't aware what a Carrack stick looks like, it looks like that. It is a tool for building this model with.
What does it do? What does it help you with?
What does the Carrack stick do? Well, so 2 issues exist when we're dealing with... I'm looking for the... Oh, there we go. It's in this one. So there's 2 problems that this Carrack stick overcomes. So here's the Carrack stick. Here's a Carrack. Now, some of the components on the Carrack, like the bridge section, the sort of hangar doors that sit there, when they're actually fitted onto the model, they become an absolute arsehole to get back out because they're flush fitting. So you have to sort of dig out them with a scalpel and stuff, which obviously isn't ideal, or shake them vigorously in the air, which again ends in disaster. So behold the Carrack stick with a magnet on it, so that you can place and lift things in and out of the model. There we go.
Oh.
And then look, to remove it, pop! Oh, magic. So this is designed to basically allow you to take these bits in. I can't see now. I'm holding this in the air to the camera. So yes, it's to take things like the hangar doors off. Same for the doors underneath. So this, obviously, there's a little magnet in the piece, and then there's a bigger magnet on the stick. So that's the first thing the Carrack stick does.
Let me see if I can press the right button from the get-go. No. There we go.
Thank you. I shall take a bow. Now, the other thing that the Carrack stick does is also genius. So I did realise after sort of finishing the model that all the windows and stuff, so all of the windows that are windows on the Carrack are actually hollow. So there's these little window bits that we've just dyed the resin for go inside. Now, you could glue those in before you've glued the fuselage together, but then I thought, well, that's going to be really annoying. I mean, this is on a magnet on the front, so that comes out fine. But then if you've painted the fuselage, you're going to have to mask off all these little windows and stuff. And if you spray paint it, it's going to be a bastard. So wouldn't it be great if we could put all the windows in after we've painted it? So provided you leave the cargo bay ceiling off as a separate piece, which is easy enough to paint as a separate piece, you take your window. So here's your window piece. And there's a small triangle cut into it for the Carrack stick to be inserted into at a very specific angle.
Oh.
So that this can now be surgically inserted into the model and popped into place. And every window has this little triangle cut out in it, so that no matter where you need to insert it, whether it be through the nose or there, it's always at the perfect angle to pop and glue them in place. So the Carrack stick has multiple uses. So the Carrack stick is very good. It's the first custom tool we have made for our kits.
And it's going to be emblazoned with your logo, is it not?
It does have a little JDF on it. So if my camera folks, it does have a little JDF on it. So that's cool. So it's a handy thing. I don't know whether we will. The magnet. So it started life just being a magnet stick, and then when I suddenly realised this annoyance with the windows, I thought, there's another end to my stick, so we can solve this problem with the same stick. So that's cool. So that goes in the slot here. So we've got the bridge. We have 2 slots with magnets in, because there's 2 bags of magnets with a Carrack. First time ever that we have 2 baggies of magnets. So all of those Arrow owners will recognize this baggie of magnets. So this is 50 3mm diameter by 1mm magnets. And now the new baggie is 10 5mm by 2mm magnets, because we have big magnets on the Carrack as well. Because everything is magnetized on the Carrack.
And you had to go for the larger magnets just because the parts are bigger and you needed more force?
Yes. So things like this side wing, this is one of the ones that has the big ass magnet in here. This is taking all the weight of the model when it's sitting on its landing gear, and I don't want any twist to it. So it's got a good snap. When it goes in. 1 3mm magnet wasn't going to be enough, so we went for the 5mm magnet. It's also very handy to have in the Carrack stick, because it means that it will overpower the magnets holding the piece in. so you can drag things out more easily because the Carrack stick is more powerful than the small magnets that are attaching it into the model. So we've got this print, which we've talked about before. So I've split this print up now. So this was its original print, and it's now got a separate print and then another print with the engine on, which will just be another one of these. So that's that. So that's the only correction I need to make to this foam now, is just to make 2 ducats for that. So these engines will be printed in blue. So that you have an option basically for either solid engines or clear engines if you wanted to do some clever lighting trick with the engines. Because there is a... Can I glue these in? Totally glue those in. You get another Carrack. Thankfully there's a lot of Carracks kicking around for some reason. So the engine holes, you actually get into the hollow of the model in there. So there's plenty of room for lighting and stuff in there. So you can make your engines do cool glowy tricks if you want to. So there is a second...
I think I'll do a third option actually. I'll hollow out the opaque engines and just have the little where it's actually producing the flame thing light up. You know what I mean?
Yes. I mean, what my image of it was, you would just paint the bits you didn't want to glow with a couple of layers of paint.
But that's easier. Why would anybody want to do that?
Well, you've got engines to pick from. I'm just going to close that box up now. So that's all dripped out there. So you've got some options there. This is after. So this is a really good example of this is because people have asked for it. People have asked for us to do these of the Arrow for the same reason. I am tempted to actually do the Arrow print, the engine print for the Arrow in clear, and have it as a spare part that people can request, because I think that would be quite cool. We have a raft of clear parts, so these are all the windows, so these are the ones we're going to print in blue. So that's all the windows for the Carrack. We have this print here, which has loads on it. It's got so much stuff. So it's got the deployed front ramp for the garage. It's got all of the antenna masts, both deployed and undeployed. It's also got more kind of scanner aerial masts that sit on the that sort of come out of the in-flight wings. So all of those are on that print. We have turrets. So these are side turrets. And how many side turrets does a Carrack have? Well, it has 2. So why do you have 6 of them? Because we're very generous. So you have retracted ones. So they are actually pulled into the body of the Carrack. You've got deployed ones, which are out all the way on their stalks and facing forward or backwards, because you can spin them round. And you've also got these deployed ones that are kind of at a jaunty angle, sort of 45 out and looking up the way. So they look more sort of action posed. So they're not on magnets, they're just like a push fit, so you just push them in and out, don't glue them in. We've got this print here. Oh, wait a minute. This print here has something missing. So, I know. So, this print here, but in this gap, imagine there's a rover. So this has 2 Pisces, 1 in flight and 1 landed, and it has 4 more turrets. So these are the center turrets. So we've got a manned turret and an unmanned turret. Again, one with the guns flat and one with them pointing up at about 40 degrees, so they look a bit more of an action shot. And then we've got the little Ursa rover that will go into that gap, but I didn't have that file at the time because Westbrook Drew did the Ursa rover for me. So I'm going to take that out. So this now lifts out. Put that there. We then have a middle layer of foam to take out, and then this is the bottom layer. So bottom layer is a bit more packed than the top layer. So what do we have? Well, we've got the print of many cargo pods. There's so many cargo pods on this. So what have we got? We have 3 normal cargo pods. So they've got magnets on the inside, so they click onto the bottom. We've got this weird looking pod, which is what the stand goes into, so it replaces one of these, and that's what the stand goes into. So after all my messing about before, saying that it should go on the back of the 3, I've totally discovered that it fits better balance-wise in the middle. Don't know why, but it does. But anyway, it's on magnets anyway, so people can put it on whichever one they want. This is the cargo bay ceiling with all the geometry that we had to design and stuff because it doesn't have any in game. And then this one at the side, I don't think any of you have seen. So this is a deployed cargo pod with its doors open, and you can see the walkway and stuff inside it.
Oh, that is so cool.
So you can have that as a little diorama piece, so you can have it deployed out, which is kind of funky.
I'm going to give you another.
Thank you. We like to go the extra 100 miles to make this ludicrous. So this one has 2 connecting pins, the the garage ramp closed, retracted, and this hangar door retracted that we're playing around with.
Any reason why the open one is different print? I know it's a different resin. It's the Tough 2000.
Yes. So good question. So the reason it's in the Tough 2000 resin is because of these hydraulic rams. Because obviously when it's open, you can see these hydraulic rams. And they are too delicate to have in the model resin. So it's in the Tough 2000 resin, so it can take some more abuse.
But if you did the entire thing in Tough 2000, it would be too expensive, or does not take detail as well?
The surface quality isn't as good. Its detail level isn't as good. It is significantly more expensive. It's another £50 per litre. And it also takes a lot longer to print. It's a slower resin to print. So all of those factors together make it not suitable for the big parts, but it makes it very cool for turrets and stuff because it has more ABS plastic-like quality. So you can drop these and probably not smash them onto concrete, but you can certainly drop them on the floor onto a carpet, or accidentally drop and kick them, and they won't just shatter the tiny guns off, which they would if they were in the model resin. So model resin is brilliant for when you've got big surface areas like the fuselage pieces. It's where you get this amazing surface quality out of the model resin. It's what it's for. But it can be a little bit fragile when you've got small, thin pieces. So the Tough 2000 works really well for that. So we've got the front fuselage, since we've already pulled it out. We've got the rear fuselage in there. All its lovely holes and stuff. We then have 2 sets of wings. So each of these prints has a landed and a flight wing. So you get 2 of those prints, so that you've got a pair of each. They are nicely symmetrical.
We call them those shields. I think.
Okay. I'm calling
started
them
calling
wings.
them shields. Yeah. Well, they're neither, but they kind of look like but they're not actual shields. What are those things that go on the on your forearm?
Oh yeah, I mean they're almost like crest shields, aren't they? I mean I'm calling them wings. And I appreciate they're not aerodynamic wings, but they're where the wings should be if it had them. We've then got this print, which has a ominous gap in the middle, because I took it off the print and then lost it. Put it down somewhere. So, oh, it's here. Because I just wanted to have a look at it. So it's got a little JR in it. Let's see. There's a little JR in the bottom, just there. I do put a little JR on all of my models somewhere. This is obviously not going to be on the outside. This is on the inside.
What is it? What is it though?
Oh, so this is the front landing gear retracted. So that goes into this. This hole here with its and again, this is another great one where having that magnet in the center of it allows the Carrack stick to pull it out without you having to dig it out, which is very handy. So the other things that are on this print are front landing gear deployed, which is this one here. And then we've got the 2 rear landing gear feet, which attach into the wings. Again, small, delicate parts, so going with Tough 2000 resin for those. We then have the base. So Star Citizen logo lasered in. And then, after all the dicking about I did the other week when we actually designed this, I went completely back on everything I'd said, and actually have done a Anvil Aerospace logo in the upstand. So we're actually going to use cast acrylic for all the pieces. So what I've done, though, is I've only done them on one of them. So one doesn't have it, and one does have it. So I did it on both. This isn't a time or a money-saving thing. I did laser it onto two, and the problem you've got is when you display it as a stand, you kind of got this weird double reflection because you could see the other one through it.
Yeah.
And it kind of didn't look right. So when it's displayed on the shelf like that, it looks better with just one logo rather than one on this back leg as well. So
Indeed.
So you can, depending on which way you're going to have it on your shelf, obviously, depending on which side you want to put the Anvil Aerospace logo on it. But yeah, so I discovered that actually doing it on both wasn't helpful. So they just slot into there, and then that's the kit. So
big box. Is it the biggest box you've done?
So this is the same size box as the Freelancer Max and the Tumbrils. We have two sizes of box. We have, I mean, there are larger ones if we need them. Interestingly, this is
the address eventually.
Yeah, basically, there are bigger boxes. Now, interestingly, this as a kit doesn't have as many components as the Tumbrils. The Tumbril is a big model. Because it's a 1-to-40, and it has like 6 people in 1-to-40 in it and all that kind of stuff. It's actually got quite a lot of parts to it, and actually fills the box more than the Carrack does. The Carrack, however, is more expensive. The components it has are more expensive because it's got 2 of these big prints, whereas the Tumbril and all the other ships we don't really have 1 big print, but it's got this one and the aft section, obviously making it the longest model we've ever done. But the Tumbrils are really wide, they're like 6-7 inches wide. So expense-wise, we haven't got the final figures in because we haven't... we price our models based on how much it costs us to make, believe it or not. It's crazy. So things like the clearcast canopy are obviously a thing we have to now work out, right? How much is it going to cost us to make hundreds of these in-house? Everything we do is in-house. So daft things like not having to polish the master, which allows us to do a master with more on, but we do have to lacquer it at the end. All of those things factor in better and worse for the overall cost. I think it works out better in a way because we can make molds that... I'm hoping I can make a mold that fits... God, I would love like 25 on a layer of these canopies and then do 3 casts a day so that I could get 75 cast in a day. Casting would be epic. I don't know whether I'll manage that. What I have ordered is a like a food warmer thingy for nachos or pizzas with the shelves in it. Because once the way you do these casts is you obviously mix the 2 parts of the resin together. You then pour it into the mold. You put it into a pressure pot. You compress it to 60 psi for an hour and a half. We now know. We've learnt that now. For an hour and a half. You then take it out and then you put it in an oven at 65 degrees for 4 to 6 hours. Now, 65 degrees isn't particularly high as a temperature. So what we thought is, I bet there's like a food warmer that'll go up to that kind of temperature. And there is like a glass burrito food warmer. So we've ordered one of those and it's got 3 shelves inside. So we'll get 3 casts in for the day on these shelves. So I'm going to make vinyls for the top for torpedo burrito and stuff. So we can actually have a proper torpedo burrito display cabinet just in the corner of the workshop.
You're gonna have to have Buster make you like recipes for actual torpedo burritos as well.
Yes.
Because she's gonna do the hot dogs, and there is now a snack called Buster's.
Is there?
It's for sale in Orison, and she went completely bananas over it.
Fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, I can't remember what burritos and stuff we actually had at CitizenCon, because obviously we did have a Torpedo Burritos stand at CitizenCon. But yeah, so
I had the Musaka one. It wasn't good.
I didn't have anything.
No time to eat, huh?
No time to eat. So this top layer looks a bit bereft. I think because we've packed so much onto these prints. So we've got a bit of a gap up here and a bit of a gap here. Now, in the past, we used to put our we used to have a slot for the limited edition certificate cards, and we also used to usually put our bases flat in there, which obviously took up a huge amount of room. So although it doesn't look as full as, like, say, the Max, we did actually used to waste quite a lot of space by having that stand base flat and all that kind of stuff, and we used to have the card in it. We've now gone over to not having the card in the box like that, because we don't think it looks as good as... Hoping I had one to hand, and I really don't.
Just in an envelope on top.
Yeah, we've got. I've got an envelope. We'll go with just waving an envelope and hoping people can imagine. So we've got these really nice, like,
theatre of the mind.
Theatre of the mind. We've got these cool translucent envelopes, which I think are about as sci-fi as an envelope can be. It's fairly low bar, but sci-fi envelopes. I'll put my hand in it so you can see how translucent they are. But they're kind of fun. They're more like sort of a baking paper type translucentness.
It's also the perfect material for DIY light boxes for product photography.
Oh, interesting. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. So we have, that's it inside it. So it is quite thing. So we have the instruction manual in these envelopes. We have the...
Shit, I shouldn't be telling all this now, otherwise you won't have me come over and take photos of all this stuff for you.
You still need someone to take the photos, even if I've already built the light box. So we have the instruction manuals in this. We have the certificates of authenticity, which I don't have one up here.
Because that one's just not authentic, Just go with that.
Yeah, no. So the Carrack ones actually are specific to the Carrack, so they've actually got a picture of the Carrack on the certificate now, and silver embossing and stuff. So that's nice. There's the water slide decals will go in here, and the sandpaper. So it's all in this nice envelope that's on the. There's a bit of foam in between that layer and this, so we don't need to put the card in here. So what I was thinking was, I might do an Anvil Aerospace logo in here. Could do a Star Citizen logo, could do a JRDF logo. We could put Anvil Aerospace Carrack and all that kind of stuff. So we've often put little bits of writing and stuff on this foam. So the advantage of lasering our own foam is that we can engrave it, which is quite nice. So this is now, I just need to recut this top piece because as I said, I've just changed this print here for a combination. Now this is now ready for JC. So
sweet. He won't need the instructions, will he?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't see the instructions. So that right. So this is quite a good question actually. How does this process work? So so we send JC a full Carrack, obviously all its other wings and things. So we sent him that and the box with all the parts in it, so you can look at all the parts as well, see how we're printing them and stuff. JC is a great person to be sending this stuff to because obviously he is a big Citadel Miniatures fan. Oh, we could just zoom in on that.
Yes, he is.
Big Citadel.
Lots of Warhammer stuff on his Twitter if you follow him.
Yes, so he she'll come over here. So he's a great person for us to actually have the models because we actually get decent feedback from him about stuff. He doesn't say yeah fine. He says I like it. I like this bit a lot. I like this bit. Perhaps in the future. The only one he's ever not rejected but gone. Can you change this? Was on the Dragonfly mod. Is like, do you want to thicken this bit up a little bit? And we've pushed away over the time. I've learned more about what I can get away with from a point of view of thickening stuff up. I, in my head, kind of always worried that it will look stupid and cartoony if we make stuff too fat. But actually, your brain automatically looks at this stuff and goes, it's a model. And it's sort of expecting stuff in certain places to be fattened up, and nothing we have done has ever looked silly. And
if you actually upsize it to something proper, it would look chunky. Yeah, but at a certain point, the brain requires thickness for it to register as substantial and not overly fragile, I guess.
Yes. No, it's finding that balance. It's always finding that balance. And another cool thing about this front canopy is that we've printed things, the seats, like the pilot seats and stuff that you can just see in there, that is more fragile than we would print as a piece to send out to somebody. But because we're dealing with it and casting it in a block of resin, we can get away with finer detail. The fact there's the handrail and everything around that sort of middle deck and stuff, like we wouldn't do that. It's too fine to send out as a piece, really. So we can find that balance with stuff. The guns on the Pisces, like the front forward-facing guns, they are chunked up so much to make them survive.
As they are size 1.
Yeah, size 1 on a 1:500 model. So it's just like, that's not going to work. But you chunk them up so much, and they still look silly. It is bizarre how, and like the arrow as well. I'll just get I'll just break the supports off that arrow and sort of stick it next to it. It's like it's 1:500 is a fantastic perspective of scale for things. You do have to, make things bigger in certain situations, otherwise they just don't print. It's better to have them slightly chunkier. To not. I'll just have a quick look up chat. Don't think we missed anything. Thank you very much. So so that now goes off to JC in that box, and the finished model goes to JC. He then gives us feedback on that. Separate to that, now that I've finished the model, I can start exporting all the instructional stages of the model itself. So I'll just quickly open one of my renders. Maybe.
The stream just crashed for me. Yeah, there we go. It's back.
Wow. This was obviously a really fucking big file.
Yeah.
Is, actually.
An engineer asks if you can paint the bridge element's gunmetal prior to casting.
Yeah, you come and do it. I'm gonna guess no, actually, interestingly. I know it sounds a daft thing. I think the resin had melted off.
How hot does it get while it's curing?
100 degrees, something like that.
Just use automotive paint, like engine paint.
I'm trying to get a good excuse why not to do another step. Shut up. I mean, it's already grey. Let's just go with that. Yeah, the resin might eat the paint. We'll do a test, and no matter what the result, I'll say it ate the paint. So this is an export of one of the instruction steps. So just to talk you through this, so Darge is helping us massively here by doing the instructions in a better way than I used to. My old instructions are awful. Apologies for any people trying to build an arrow based off my instructions. One of the biggest problems we always have is the magnets. And when there's 60 magnets in the Carrack, more than we've ever put on a model, buy us a ticket, Scotland. Excellent. It's one of those things where realistically we need to make sure that we're getting these magnets right. Obviously, magnets have a north and a south pole, and we need to get them in. All 60 magnets need to be put into this model the right way around.
Oh, yeah, because of the stick?
Yes, because of the stick. Everything has to be correct. I know, right?
Now it's not just that they have to be oriented the same way to each other. They have to be actually oriented the proper way.
Yes, and the big magnets have to be orientated the proper way to the small magnets as well, because sometimes the Carrack stick is picking up small magnets. So,
what are you doing to me, Jay?
What am I doing to everyone who buys a Carrack? So, the way you do magnets is you take the stick of magnets and you colour one side of them, and you take that off, you colour it. We have a this makes me having said I use the magnets. So we have a fantastic tutorial video which we will link to.
We need to do another one just for the Carrack.
Yeah, actually, we probably should do one just for the Carrack. Do a full instructional video of building the Carrack, putting all its magnets in. So as you can see in this picture here, you can sort of see that one side of the magnet is blue. So idea being that you paint one side of every magnet blue, and then you watch carefully when you do
whatever color,
or whatever color. We're going to use blue, I think, in this one, but yes, whatever color. And these instructions will show you which way you're supposed to be putting the magnets in. So you can see sometimes you'll see them when they're in blue. There'll be arrows and stuff added to this by Dodge, obviously. I've just realized why it crashed the stream, because it was loading all of these onto a carousel. So these are our instructions.
So you could basically grab the now three function Carrack stick. Stick it to one of the sides.
Because you can actually use
it. To find out which side of the magnet roll is south and which is north.
Yeah, that's very true. So if you do the carrot stick first as your datum point, then yes, that is brilliant, because then you would actually have your Carrack stick in. If in doubt, check with your Carrack stick. I like that. You can write that into the instructions.
I'll have to.
Yeah, you'll have to.
There's going to be 5 pages of magnet instructions.
Yeah,
but definitely a QR code to the video that we need to do properly. Like,
yes, yeah, no, I would agree. I think it is really important to, obviously when we're doing all these things with with magnets, so many magnets, in it is really important to
carrot stick. Yes.
Yeah, I know. It's because engineer. This is because I wanted at CitizenCon 2019 to get water bottles and put Carrack juice on them, and just try and claim it was the melted statue. It's like Carrack juice, anyone? So yeah, the Carrack stick is deliberate. Don't worry, nothing is by accident here. But yeah, so there's a lot of magnets in this behemoth, and they all need to be done right, and they're bloody everywhere, and yeah. So this is an interesting one, right? So here's an interesting one that will break your brain. On the starboard side of the Carrack, these magnets that are for the scanner arrays that are going in down here, on the starboard side, the blue side is pointing into the fuselage. On the port side, they're pointing outwards.
Okay.
That's because the aerials, the antenna, are identical, so you have to put one way and one the other into them. So I thought, yeah.
To just do the antennas the same way, and then have the port inside of the fuselage different.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is all going to be. It's a good job we have a spare parts policy. Let's put it that way. Let's just put it that way. There's going to be a lot of people going, can I have all the little bits and all the magnets again, please?
2025. Reasons for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Spare parts policy.
See? Yeah, right. But yes, so I suppose in theory, even if you... So here is one. If you do glue the magnets into the fuselage wrong, you still only need the little bits of spare parts. You just got to have to match up your magnets well. We're not going to start giving away the full ship every time because you've got the magnets in the wrong way around. So this is, again, to show the different engines and things like that. So it's all getting there. So once all these instruction things, this is me exporting them, sending to Daj. Daj is pointing them on awesome-looking instructions with Hashgahar's... Hasgahar. Thank you. I'd say Hashgahar. I don't know why.
Because you have the hash on your mind.
Yes, probably. Hasgahar. Loads of screenshots, Captain Raoul as well. And yeah, so just getting all that together, that goes along with its box art to art then law, then legal, for them to sign that off. And then once we've got that sign off, they can go on sale, provided we've got 100 on the shelf or whatever we're doing. So as soon as JC has signed it, our priority at the moment is to get its models to JC. The canopy was our last piece that we needed of that puzzle, and getting these production prints done. They're all done now. So get it to JC. JC signs it off. And
are we talking Jesus Christ or Jeremy Clarkson?
The important one, Jeremy Clarkson. John Crew. I should probably say John Crew. So once John's seen it, then we can, get that signed off. And as soon as that has been ticked off, basically it goes to print. We start manufacturing the Carracks as fast as we humanly can, so that we can set a date. And don't worry, we will once we've got the sign off for the artwork, we will then set a launch date. Even though we won't have them all printed by that point, we'll set a launch date and we'll launch it no matter how many we have on the shelf, because we want to kind of work up to a date. So as soon as we've got the instructions and the artwork signed off, we'll pick a date, because we'll know where we are in production then.
How much extra to emboss the sleeve that goes around the box?
I don't know. What would you emboss it with?
No, just to have a matte and a glossy difference between the white and the artwork. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I shall ask.
Callie that might be a
more money.
Yeah.
Stop it.
If it's not that much, it might actually be worth it, because that would really
pop though, wouldn't it? Yeah, that'd be nice. So we'll look into that. So that's where we are with the Carrack. The Carrack model itself is done, finished, dusted. Now that we've got that screen done, and I'll look back on it, the screen's done. She's looking lovely model. I like the stand. I like everything about it. It's not won me over as an in-game ship. I'm not going to be running out and buying one, but the model has definitely won me over. I do like the model. That was the longest answer ever. Still haven't answered when it's out, have I? The answer is I don't know. There was a question right at the beginning of the stream. When was the Carrack coming out? And I've literally spent the entire stream 2.5 hours not answering that question, like a politician. But yeah, it is genuinely because we don't know yet. It's dependent on when John signs it off and when the artwork's signed off. That gives us our two kind of points of production. And I say we have to physically manufacture a decent number of these. As I'd love to do 100, because hopefully this will be our best selling model. Soon TM. Yeah, but I've set specific things that need to happen. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Darsh, how long will the instructions take?
Oh, yes, that.
Yes, yeah. That.
Well, now that you've given me a couple of renders, I can start working around them. The thing that's still doing my head in is the position of the little screenshot. So on every, I want to do we do every page? Do we do one per spread? It's like do we have? Will we have enough screenshots? It's just.
I guess it's that whole thing. It doesn't necessarily matter if we have the same on every.
Yeah, I'll probably have to do it in once we have all the steps in, and I see which ones can be oriented in a way that leaves room.
Yes, I mean, for the first time, we have actually decided that we are going to need to, for some of these instructions, kind of have zoomed in areas. So we've never done this before, where we're going to sort of crop around the outside, because the problem is step one is effectively stick the fuselage together, so that literally from the first step you've got the whole 10.5 inch model. So we can't have that whole model in shot and still be able to see these little magnets and stuff. So we've got to work out how that's going to work. Mystery 1,
I have that sorted. I have that sorted. It's fine.
Oh, that's excellent. Really looking forward to the model. We are too. I mean, like, to getting it out there and stuff, because I've been playing around with it for a long time now, obviously designing it. I'm kind of done with it from that point of view. I'm designing the next one now. And
what is the next one?
Well, the next one to 500 kit model is the Hercules. So that's Q4 this year, but it also has an MSR with it as well. Not with it, but the MSR is coming out at the same time as a 1 to 500 ship, as well as a load of others. That's not the one I'm actually drawing at the moment, though. So I'm not saying the one that I'm drawing at the moment, because that is going to be a one that's going to be split. Yeah, yeah, it's a 1 to 100 model. Let's put it that way, because the Arrow is selling out really fast now. It's like we've put number 323 on the shelf of the Arrow now, which like we're struggling to keep up with the Arrow, which is great. But again, it's an issue because we need the Form 3 printer to print the bodies for the Arrow. So we need to get ahead of ourselves on the production enough that we can not produce any arrows for 2 months while we're making the Carrack. So we may end up running out of arrows on the shelf. Not running out of arrows out of the 500 eventual arrows, but not having any on the shelf because we're printing the Carrack, or having to go, well, we're going to have less Carracks on the shelf at launch because we need to print another batch of arrows. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a loan at this point. But yeah, so the arrows, I think we've sold over 2/3 of the arrows now out of the 500. So that's good. So it's getting to the point where they are going to be sold out by the end of the year, and we're never going to do any more of them. So I really needed to have another 1 to 100 ship. Yeah, no, we are never going to do any more. It's not like a lot of these limited edition runs where they go, oh, now we're going to do a second edition. It's like, no. Once the 500 are done, that's it. We're never going to make another one. So if you want an arrow, you have to get the first 500 batch. And I can't wait for people to go, oh, well, I didn't get one because they sold out too quick. It's like, they'll have been on sale for 3 years. We launched it in 2019. The beginning of 2019, so you have no excuse to not have an arrow by this point.
I don't have an arrow.
Yeah, well, there's no excuse. But yeah, so the arrows look like they'll be out gone by the end of the year. So I kind of don't want to not have a 1 to 100 fighter on the shelf. There are other 1 to 100 ships that are coming to the end of the pipeline now that will be launched pretty soon. But I do want another fighter to replace the arrow, basically, or to complement the arrow, I should say. So I'm working on that quickly.
And also, what is it? What's his name? The Jesus hair guy from Germany.
Oh, Brian Chambers.
Brian Chambers recently tweeted that they were just in a Squadron 42 summit thingy, and things were looking very good. So you may actually have to end up looking into Squadron 42 specific ships.
Yes, well, I would like to persuade them to let me do Squadron 42 artwork for kind of like the box for ships that are very Squadron 42. To actually do more Squadron 42 artwork on the box would be really nice. Even if like I pick a ship that's a squadron-y ship that's in game anyway.
Well, yeah, it's going to be the
Gladius, that kind of thing.
Tally, F8.
Exactly.
Then there's the Vandal ones.
Oh yes, no, I really want to do the Vandal ones. That would be amazing. Still got my Arrow Citizen box to build it. Yes, there's a lot.
I wonder how long the Carrack model is going to be sitting on my desk, because for my birthday I got 2 NASA Lego sets, the Saturn V rocket and the International Space Station. They're still in the box.
Well, what I will be interested in is when the Arrow sells out, how fast how fast it ends up on eBay. The first one coming up on eBay for more money than the Arrow was on sale for. I want to say, I'm genuinely interested in how quickly it will accrue in value as a collectible. Because when you look at the original Connie model that CIG put, that appears on eBay occasionally for $2.5 grand. Now I don't know if anyone buys it for that, but it goes up for that.
See, misery one, there's a chance for you to earn a bit of that money back.
Yeah, not saying don't build it. I'm just saying. The Jesus hair guy, no, it's not Mjolnir. It's Stormbreaker that Brian Chambers has, because we built it. Yeah, but yeah, awesome, cool. Thank you very much for everyone joining us. Thank you very much, Daj, for jumping in as co-host. Are you around on Wednesday?
Should be.
Yes, I think
I'm off Tuesday, but
yeah, we're not. I think we're leaving down south on Thursday, so yes, we'll see if it might be the two of us again on Wednesday. Drew obviously can't do Wednesdays because it's in the middle of his day work-wise. You are the other way, time zone-wise. So
just 1 hour.
Just 1 hour. Yes, we're pretty much the same. Yeah, I take it you guys have daylight savings as well.
Yeah, we're aligned, so it's always an hour out.
Yeah, that's fine. Sweet. We should probably raid somebody. I've got a button for that these days. Who shall we raid?
Well, John Cruz streaming Star Citizen right now. Yeah.
That would be hilarious. Just all go in there and go, you better sign off the Carrack really fast. That's hilarious.
CrewTube, by the way.
Oh, CrewTube. Thanks very much.
Yes.
There we go. CrewTube still says, and there you go. We shall raid John Crew, and don't be mean to him because he's just signed off loads of 1 to 500s really quickly for us. But yeah, say hi to him, and yeah, tell him he's an awesome guy, which he is. And we shall see you all on Wednesday. Thank you very much for hanging out, and we'll see you again. Tally bye.
Bye.